deal was close.
And here with their thoughts, former mayor of Cranston, Rhode Island, and presidential candidate Steve Laffey, plus economist and board member of Overseers at Stanford University's Hoover Institute, John Jordan. I'm going to start with you, Steve. Your thoughts about what the solution will be to this debt ceiling crisis. Both McCarthy and the president saying we're not going to default. So then what?
Yeah, we're not going to default. I'm 61, and I don't know how many times we've had to live through this playbook from both parties, including mine. But we are not going to default, and whether Janet Yellen pretends that we will on June 1st, we simply won't. I hope that they go with the Republican plan. It's still not the most important thing, folks, just so you know, but because we're going to run big deficits. The interest on the debt is increasing. My campaign here in New Hampshire, where I am, and I just added Larry Kotlikoff to talk about this as my senior economic advisor, the world-renowned fiscal guy out of BU, and we were talking about this the other day. And while we don't agree on social issues, we can agree that we've got to do other things in this budget. We can't just have a debt agreement and then move on. The debt is too big. For example, the interest in the debt this year will be $640 billion, up from $228 billion years ago. It's crowding out investment. The debt is far too big, and we're going to need to revamp Social Security, modernize it, make it strengthened, like we do at SteveLaffey.com. We're going to need to redo what the banks do because there's going to be more collapses, Bob and Katrina, that's still to come. We're going to have to go to limited purpose banking. And when we talk about the Republican plan for, say, Medicaid and work, which is great, we've got to find a way with a new tax plan to lower the marginal rate as people climb out of poverty. Right now, you're climbing out of poverty. You can face 80% rates of income tax.
Steve, I appreciate everything you're saying. Steve, I appreciate everything you're saying. We want to give John a chance to respond to this. House Leader Kevin McCarthy also delivered remarks on the debt ceiling.
So is it wrong? Is it not reasonable? Before you lift it, you're responsible for paying what was spent. But should you first look at how you're spending your money? Now, the president and Leader Schumer have finally backed off their idea that they won't negotiate. They finally backed off the insane, unrational, unsensible idea that you just raise the debt ceiling.
John Jordan, your response.
Here's where we are. Both sides have been posturing for some time, but it looks like the administration is going to fold like a lawn chair here. Even the progressives on Capitol Hill, Pramila Jayapal and the squad are incensed. There's a deal that's going to get done here, and it's going to be along the lines of recouping the unspent COVID funds, which was in the Republican bill, and it's going to be a work requirement for a lot of welfare benefits, but not for Medicaid. So that's what the administration is actually ceding ground on it, and that's probably going to be enough for McCarthy to get this bill across the finish line. Then it's up to Chuck Schumer in the Senate. It's going to be interesting, but the administration pretty much caved here. Now, the other piece of this economically is we're talking about the Fed raising rates, but the fiscal side of the house we keep overlooking. Nobody talks about how the Biden administration is doing everything they can to raise costs. That's inflationary, spending money, regulatory burdens on business, everything they can to raise the price of things. And meanwhile, the Fed is trying to bring it down. So they're working at cross purposes. Interest rates wouldn't need to be so high if the administration was not pursuing this anti-growth agenda. So next time you pay your mortgage payment, you pay the interest payment on your car, a lot of that you can blame Joe Biden because it's a hidden tax.
All right, John Jordan, Steve Laffey, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming up.